everybody. Well, yep, I have Sia with me today. She needed to come out because I know that this girl is going to need to use the bathroom today, and if you're well aware of Sia and how that works, she has to be out, and she has to be out in the right position to be able to do all those sorts of things. Plus it's time to get her out and have a little bit of time with her as well, if I can get her to unhook from my arm and bring her around for you to see. But I'll just wait her here a little bit. Reminds me of my Jessie in a way. But Sia is my diamond python. She is 3 years old, probably 3.5 months old now, and coming along, not what I'd say as being amazingly great with her growth. As you're aware, Sia hasn't shed for a while, have you? So I'm going to start giving her a bath and just soak her once a week to maybe trigger that and see if she'll shed this skin at least. But my video today, settle down sweetie, okay, just settle a little bit for mum. My video today is going to be continuing on with care of carpet pythons, even though it can be based a general all-round care for all sorts of snakes and pythons, really, not just carpet pythons. But for me, the subject is going to be quarantine. Now, I've spoken about getting them home and their little homes and feeding issues that you might have, and kind of missed the quarantine in terms of getting them home and should or shouldn't you quarantine. Now personally, it's a good idea to do so. If you know, even if you do know the breeder really well, you've known him for a long time, you know what snakes he's got, you know, I will leave it up to you to make that sort of a decision in that particular scenario. But in general, most people would, of course, quarantine. Now, quarantining your snake can range from 2 months to 3 months to 6 months. That is also up to you, and recommendations by a vet would be 2 years, but you know, some diseases take that long to rear their ugly head, but that's not practical to us that have snakes. So rule of thumb, 2 months to 3 months I feel is okay. That's a pretty good start. But you can also, like for me, you know, I pretty much had Sia just in the other room, over the other side of here, and kept her away from over this side here. And if I did bring her over and do a video, I then sterilized, changed my clothes and did all that I needed to do. Now Sia did get an RI very shortly after she came here. When she developed that RI, she didn't come anywhere near this room, so I kept her well clear of here. So you do not want to have a healthy heap of snakes around you, and one snake can blow that all out the window. And believe me, depending on what they get, some of that can absolutely be either life-threatening, and you lose not only that snake but all your other snakes, but can cost you a fortune at the vet having each and one of them brought back to health again. So quarantine is really I'm keeping my eye on her butt end, even though she's not really in the best position to go to the toilet yet, but I've known her to do it on me before. I might actually stop right here and do what I need to do, and I'll come back after she's been to the toilet. Okay, won't be long. So okay, she went to the toilet. She's really tuned into how I hold her and hang her and do what I do. I think she's finished. She did get me on the bottom of my pants a little bit because I was a little bit slowing down when I was doing, but most of it went on the puppy pad. So quarantining, lots of reasons to do it. You do not want any of what you have in your life to have any issues and to become sick. It's an expensive thing to happen, and it's a heartbreaking thing to happen, especially if it could have been avoided by quarantining your snake. Now, in quarantining, that doesn't mean you have to have a great big enclosure set up and, you know, in a separate room. You can certainly put them into a tub for that time being. It's only for a very short time anyway, and it's certainly not going to hurt your snake at all. If you want to handle that snake and do anything with that snake in the meantime, please be sure to go from doing what you need to do with the snakes that you already have, that you know are healthy and happy, before you go and start handling the one that is in quarantine. Don't do it the other way around. And if you were to actually do that and you decided that, oops, I forgot, I've got to do this or I've got to do that, then strip down, jump in the shower, and it means washing your hair as well. It means washing all of you and putting on fresh clothes. So yeah, it's not a matter of just jumping in, having a shower, putting on some clean clothes, and it's washing your hair as well. Of course, also really, when you're going from even your own snakes, although even there it's not overly important, but use some hand sanitizer in between handling your snakes, and especially for people that turn up and say, oh, can I hold one of your snakes? Sure. 2 seconds to ask them to sanitize their hands. You don't know where they've been, and I'm not saying they've been out handling other snakes. Some may have been, but it can be the same for them. They come into your home and handling your snakes, and even though they're all healthy and they're all doing really well, go home and before you handle your own snakes, sanitize your hands. It's all just safety precaution. Now, how often should you, leading on from that, because I think you've got the idea of why we quarantine and the reasons for it. How often should we have our snakes vet checked? You know, in a way, should be every year. Have them looked over. Just for that all sense of everything seems really good. They're all fine. And it's good to get a vet to say, yep, they're doing just great, looks good, looks healthy, no issues. Of course, now I can again say to you, we kind of know our snakes very well. We know when there's something wrong, and sometimes for us, we know when there's something wrong. And I find our vets don't believe us. You know, we notice changes. We notice differences in, that was hard to get out, differences in their behaviour. We can go to a vet and say, there's something going on, this is what I've noticed, and even though nothing is happening at that time, so the vet doesn't see it, they check them out, they check all the things that they need to do, and they go, no, seems all right to me. And then all of a sudden, you know something's wrong, and you're watching something happening, and the vet is still saying everything's okay. Stick to your guns and say, no, there's something wrong. And this is what I've seen, or I know that it is. And maybe be a little bit more like a dog with a bone about it. Because I've just recently had a friend who's got a snake that she knew was not well, and kept going to the vet and saying, I know this is what's happening, but they're checking and not seeing anything, and went downhill quite fast and has now got pneumonia through no fault of the person that not owns her, but takes care of her. No fault of hers, the vet's fault. And now she's really, really sick. So follow your gut. When you know something is wrong with your snake, you've got to fight for them. You're being very chilled, aren't you? Much more contented now she's been to the toilet. So, quarantining. Yes, be sure to do that for your snakes. I think it's important, and at least for a couple of months, just to make sure that they're all good, that they're not going to affect your other snakes who are all happy and healthy, and we want them to stay that way, don't we? Hey, you doing all right? Hey? I think she is. Alright guys, take care of yourself, your family, your snakes, and all your animals. Ciao.